Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range. Okay, I think we're good.
Sweet.
All right, so this is for Clement Otis. All right, so a big shout out to our major sponsors of the podcast, Indosol. If you're in the USA or Singapore, the weather is, getting warmer. It's going into summer, so it's time to get your pair of Indosols. Use code THT at checkout, and you'll get a 15% discount. And, they're supporting conscious fashion, conscious consumerism by turning old motor vehicle tyres into footwear, and they look sick. Also, as always, Kingpin Skate Supply, another sponsor of the show. Love those guys. They're my friends, and they've just got the raddest range of shoes, skateboard, decks, hardware, apparel. So go to kingpinstore.com. That's KINGPINSTORE.com. And at checkout, use the promo code THT. You'll get a 15% discount, and they do fast shipping worldwide and free shipping for orders over $25 within Australia. And lastly, shout out to crushorganics.com. Crush Organics are the purveyors of the best CBD oils and topicals. Done so much for me, especially like post-workout and recovery, reduces inflammation, and it's really helped me with my sleep and actually reducing feelings of anxiety as well. There's no THC in these products. They are derived from cannabis, but there's no psychoactive ingredient. So if you go to crushorganics.com, that's KRUSHORGANICS.com. Use promo code THT at checkout, and you'll get that huge 40% off. It's an awesome discount. Let's go. Terrible Happy Talks. Terrible Happy Talks.
Yeah, good to be here, man. Whoa. Dude, I'm pumped.
So Mr. Donut lifestyle. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's do this. Today's guest is Michael Muzzy Graham. How are you, Muzzy?
Good, mate. How are you?
Good. Muzzy is the founder of Quay Supply Co. and Quay Canteen. He's an entrepreneur, fashion designer, and frothing mountain bike rider, just to mention a few things that the guy does. And this week, Muzzy is with me live and in person at Quay Collective, his space that he's created virtually from nothing, because it was sort of a rundown space here, wasn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, a lot of hard work went into it, and yeah.
And now it's like a hub of...
That's it. Yeah, it's all come together, and 10 years on, it's it's a dream.
It's like fashion and food?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like just a little bit of a collective. So, yeah, bit of food, bit of streetwear stuff, and yeah, good to hang out.
Yeah, man. So he's with me in Quay Collective to share his journey, experiences, challenges, and hopes for the future. Mr. Michael Graham, welcome.
Let's go.
Dude, it's so weird calling you Michael.
It is, yeah. I probably get that when I'm in trouble normally, so it's...
Who do you get in trouble off?
I'm not in trouble that much anymore.
So tell us, how did you get the nickname Muzzy?
Funnily enough, an old footy coach playing footy for Milton Ulladulla Bulldogs back in the day, and I guess it wasn't that memorable, and the name Muzzy just stuck like dog shit. Yeah.
It's so crazy how a nickname just does that.
It is. It's true. And I pretty much introduce myself as Muzzy now, because it's sort of that thing, even on my email signature. If I'm emailing someone, they're probably like, who's Michael Graham? So Muzzy for everything now.
Muzzy. It does work. Like I said, I struggled to call you Michael. It's like, I've only really known you as Muzzy.
That's it. Yeah.
So let's hear a little bit about you and what you do. Just give us a bit of background about how many things you have going on. So we mentioned that you've got the clothing store.
Yep.
Right next to the restaurant.
That's right. Yep.
And what else have you got going on?
Yeah. So a few other little projects. So I'm partners in a bike shop, specialising in mountain bikes, because that's what I'm into, obviously. And then another mountain bike related project, which is a apparel label. So basically, it's a bit of ride wear and a bit of casual wear, and that's called Huck the World. And that's sort of in its infancy, but it's doing pretty well and having a heap of fun with it. So
yeah. What do you love about mountain bike riding?
It just takes you to another place, and everything else doesn't matter. Sort of sounds a bit cliche, but that's how it works. You just in the bush and go to some pretty cool places and get an adrenaline rush up, and it's just heaps of community, and it's just one of those sports that I started and just was like, this is for me, and got pretty deep in it.
Nice, man.
Yeah.
Because, like, you grew up on the southeast coast of Australia, New South Wales, which is, and the area specifically Ulladulla, is very much an awesome surf zone. So was surfing ever part of your story or not really?
Yeah. I grew up surfing, and I probably, was super keen and surfed till I was about, probably a couple of years ago, and I basically shelved the boards when I fully got hooked on riding, and so it's just been like that. It's just one of those things I picked up and I can't put down.
Yeah. Are you one of those people who've got I just can't get over how expensive mountain bikes are? Yeah. What did you rock in there? Like, tell me.
Yeah, I've got two bikes. So one being just a regular pedal bike. It's a sort of dual bike. And then the other bike is the e-bike, which is a new thing.
A bit of mountain bike e-bike.
That's right, yeah.
So you can still get rough with it.
Exactly. It's pedal assisted, so it just takes the edge off the uphills, and then going downhills just as fun. So it just opens up a whole new realm. And
change the game.
Exactly, yeah.
There's not like mountain bike purists out there that would say that's cheating, is there?
Oh, there's heaps. Yep, for sure. I probably a couple of years ago I would have said it's cheating, and until you do it, it's like that thing. Most riders, if you ask them, would you happily put a chairlift at your local ride zone, and they'd say, yeah, well, it's the same sort of thing.
Right.
Yep.
That's so interesting.
Yep.
Have you been to, do you go down to the Australian Alps, like in New South Wales, like places like Thredbo and Perisher, and in summer? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I do quite a few trips to Thredbo. Get down to Bright pretty regularly, which is just over the border in Vico. That's epic down there. And I've also done a few trips to Tassie and a trip to Queenstown, which is sick. So I'd like to do a heap more, but that's sort of where
So because it's your interest area, you just went, okay, hang on, I'm going to turn my interest into, like something that, like a business idea.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I just thought it's one of those things, you do it enough and you're like, oh, how can I make this work, and be a viable income and have fun at the same time? And it's sort of come together, I guess, just passion projects really.
Is it fun?
Heaps of fun, yeah.
So when you're designing something, does it feel like work or fun?
More often than not fun. Like, there's definitely I'm sort of a one-man or almost a one-man band for the Huck the World brand, and there's definitely parts of it that are like tedious and not as fun, like production and backwards and forwards with sampling and all that sort of stuff. But for most part, the design and putting a range together is fun, and you get to see the finished product and wear the finished product, and that's pretty, and probably even more so see others wear it, and you'll be say at Thredbo or something, you got to see some random rocking your kit, and you're just like, sick. Like, that's what it's all about.
Good feeling, eh?
Yeah, totally.
So I've noticed, a bit of background history between you and I. Like, I met you probably, it's probably like 10 or 15 years ago. We were living in the same building, and I remember when you were selling T-shirt designs just from your unit.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's how it all started. Yeah, funny you say that, because literally it was that thing of, if I'm selling enough T-shirts out of my unit, I get a space, surely I can sell a few more, and that's, a living and an income maybe eventually, and that's sort of how it's panned out.
No way. And I noticed that you do for your own labels like Huck the World, and you've got the Quay brand apparel as well. Like, where do you have a background in design, like especially like logo design or graphic design or anything like that?
Not at all. No, it's always just been a passion. I've always been into visual arts at school. I've enjoyed that subject, and just always had a bit of fun with Posca pens and just threw a few things together. And had a bit of fun with it. Ever since I was a kid, I was always just doodling. So I guess it comes from there.
Yeah, because like your designs have definitely got their own flavour now. Like I can see it and go, oh, like that's a Muzzy design, really.
Yeah, I keep it pretty simple. Like I don't have much patience, so yeah, all my designs are all about simplicity and yeah, nothing too detailed for me.
Yeah, like now you've been doing it for years and years. Like, are you starting to clue in like what designs are going to actually be a hit and sell and what don't? Like, there's a formula.
Yeah, totally. And I think you become a bit more professional over time, and you might have this design that you love, but you got to remember that it's, you're only one person, and that if everyone else won't be frothing on it as much, it's maybe like just shelf that one and move on to something new. So yeah, definitely.
Like trial and error?
Trial and error for sure.
Because it's scary, because I think you put yourself out there as well. You're actually making yourself vulnerable, going like, I designed this, and you're putting your name on it effectively. Do you ever suffer from any fear of, criticism or ridicule?
Yeah, definitely. You got to be careful what you put on it. And even today I was thinking of a design and I was like, oh, maybe that's a bit risque, throwing that slogan on the end of it. What was the slogan? See you next Tuesday, which can also be read as...
I get the acronym.
Yeah, but, I'm selling stuff to a wide demographic, so for me that's fun, but maybe not for, a mum buying for a kid.
I like it, though, because it's freedom of speech, bro.
Yeah, totally, yeah.
People don't have to buy it.
No, exactly, yeah. I think you just got to sail between the lines to a degree, and try and keep it, do your thing, but try and keep most people happy. And even the name Huck the World sort of will raise a few eyebrows. I know there's a few schools around the Illawarra where the kids aren't allowed to wear the socks and that sort of thing. Yeah.
See, that's a win in my opinion.
Totally. we got to mention at assembly, so it's like...
Really?
Yeah, so it's like that's a bit of free promo, isn't it?
Well, I guess, is any promo is good promo, is that right?
That's right. I think
Does that actually work, though?
I think for most part, yeah. I think, there's some truth in that.
Are you a little bit like anti-authority?
I guess I wasn't the best student, so I wouldn't say any authority, though. Again, I just try and sail between the lines.
There's something about you, I can see how you sail between the lines. You're sort of hard to get angry at.
Yeah, I definitely make people angry. Don't worry about that.
But yeah, I guess Huck the World, fuck the world. But there's a surf brand called FTW.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's, nothing's sacred these days, really.
It's really not. And I think consumers have the right to choose, but it's also a form of self-expression. Do you find if someone's wearing a T-shirt, it's they're trying to also represent who they are as a person, right?
Oh, fully.
Identity.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. T-shirts and hats are all about, that's your identity right there.
It's an interesting one because I work as a high school teacher, and I remember when I was at high school, teachers would always tell me to take my hat off in class. And I'm going to be straight, I still don't understand why you need to take your hat off inside.
Yeah, totally.
It's a respect thing, right?
I think it's an old school thing, a bit of tradition, but it's dated.
But what I've learned is for a teenager, their hat, especially a teenage boy, is just, it's representative of their identity. It means so much to them.
Yeah, fully.
So I might get in trouble for saying this, but I let the kids wear their hats inside.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's nitpicking, picking on what people are wearing. It's like when you go to a club and you're not dressed right for what they think's dressed well, and they won't let you in. It's sort of same thing. It's just crap.
Dude, I went underdressed to a wedding the other week. It's worst feeling.
Yeah,
worst feeling.
I know. As long as there's someone worse dressed than you at a wedding, you're sweet.
I was the worst.
If you're the worst, there's nothing you can do.
I was wearing black jeans. I thought they were dressy, but they were faded black, and just a shirt, no tie, no jacket, and then some desert boots. And everyone else was wearing tuxedos. That's all right.
I think for most part, people are overdressed at weddings. I fully don't rate the tuxedo and suit look. I say keep it cash.
Keep it cash. And then as the night progresses, everyone's just taking all their shit off anyway.
Exactly.
Sleeves rolled up, Girls have got their stilettos off.
Yep. Everyone's sweaty and uncomfy, and you're just cruising.
Yeah. The fake tan's fading as they're sweating on the dance floor.
Fully. Yep.
Yeah, like I want to go a little bit more into like the psychology of being a businessman. So I know that you hang your balls out to dry in the early days. So is that what it was like for you when you decided to step it up and open up a space?
Yeah, definitely. Like I did it low key, as in I didn't invest a whole heap of money into it. But at the same time, if it fell on its head, like would have been stuck with stock and trying to find a job. So yeah, like totally, it was you just put it all on the line, and it's that sort of thing. Though, if you've got an idea and you're passionate enough about it, you just like, I'm going to keep doing it until it works, and it works.
Well, when was the idea originally born that you wanted to start, in the fashion industry and designing T-shirts? How did it all come about?
Yeah, so that one came about probably 15 years ago. I sort of started up just a little side hustle project. Again, just like a passion project outside of my work hours. And it was just making some tees, and printed tees, and like more of a like sort of surf style label called Negative Threads, actually. Like
I remember it.
Yeah.
I remember it.
So through that, like again, like I just started having fun with it and throwing a few designs together, and just gained a bit of momentum. And then from there, it just sort of grew into this little thing where I was like, oh, wow, this could actually be something. And from there, we just sort of, the journey started.
Yeah, right. When was the last time you actually worked a real job?
Yeah, real job was probably, it was probably about 12 years ago, I reckon. Like, it would have been, maybe a little bit, 12 to 13 years ago.
Right. Wow.
And,
yes.
Yeah, so I was working as a plumber by trade, actually, yeah. And
see, I can't imagine you as a plumber.
I wasn't a good one.
Why? Like water leaks everywhere?
Oh, man, yeah. I was always just thinking about drawing and design and other things. But no, I went, it served me pretty well, but it was something that I just never wanted to pursue, as, I never saw myself doing it forever, I guess. Yeah.
On a side note, if you can hear some background noise, that is heavy rain.
Yeah, it's coming down.
We're in the middle, and this is, I guess, history in the making, like just to have it on record that we're on the back end of non-stop rain for how many weeks?
Oh, man.
2-3 weeks?
Yeah, it'd be like 3 now, I reckon. And, there's maybe a day or two through January that were sort of dry-ish. And then, it's been a horrible couple of months, eh?
Yeah, and we've got flooding. Like, even where we are now, like this, horrendous flooding up in the north coast of New South Wales around Lismore. I mean, sending love to those people who've been affected. That's just terrible. But even in our local area, I've seen like little flooding spots I never knew could flood. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, totally. Like even just driving to work, you're like, wow. And, and you don't see it so often. Like when you're in Bali and stuff, it's just like you get the rain there and everything overflows. But for it to happen here, it's like, next level.
I don't think we've seen it. What's it going to do to your bike tracks up in the mountains?
Man, they'll be cooked, there. The rain, they don't fare so well with all the heavy rain. Just like, obviously, it's erosion, trees down. So, it'll be a busy few weeks for the trail ferries, putting it all back together, eh?
Are you a trail ferry?
Well, when I've got time, I like to do my bit. But, it's sort of, it's a fun outlet, but... And like an art form, but something I probably haven't done too much of in the last sort of 6 months, just with too much going on.
Yeah. Like, what are you building as a trail ferry? Just like you get the shovel out and you're building kickers, or are you actually constructing? Because I know mountain bike riders construct wooden structures. I don't know the names of things, but you're doing that sort of stuff. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different sort of ways to build. Like there's all that stuff you just said. I like building the sort of natural stuff, which is, the form of riding I do is sort of more called enduro.
Okay. So it's sort of a, combination of downhill and a bit of pedaling as well. It's all about finding natural features. Yeah.
And then just like expanding on them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So much like skateboarders, man.
It is. It fully is. Yeah. It's I guess probably the closest sport I sort of see it to is like backcountry snowboarding.
Yeah.
where you're not trying to find the groomed lines, all that stuff's fun for sure, and there's plenty of that in riding, like flowy trails, but for me it's all that natural technical stuff. And
that's so interesting. Sorry, my phone's ringing and it goes through the Bluetooth on my recorder sometimes.
Gotcha.
Tech issues. Yeah, I love it because, like, I see what you do as like a DIY spot for a skateboarder where we find like an old abandoned car park and see what's there. And like the last place we used to skate in town called Mavs, there was just an old trolley bay, like where they have the rails for it, so they built a little skate park around that, and then that rail is just something we'd skate, like a flat rail, just naturally there in the urban environment, but you're doing it in the natural environment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Same, yeah.
So rad. Yeah. So going back to your early days, growing up on the southeast coast in a beach town, how would you describe your childhood?
Yeah, like my childhood was all about just surfing heaps, riding around on shitty bikes around the streets, going to the caravan parks on school holidays and running amok. And then, it's pretty cruisy and chilled childhood, really. Just, I was in Borley Point, so then I went to school in Ulladulla, and, it was a really tight-knit community. So from Menyana to Borley, you sort of knew everyone, and you'd all get along, party together, and
For those of you in other parts of the world, it's probably one of the most beautiful geographic places in the world, I'm going to say,
Yeah, it's pretty magic, yeah.
Like it's got beaches, it's got mountains.
Yep.
Really nice natural environment.
Yeah.
So you went to high school. What did you do straight out of high school? Straight into plumbing?
No, funnily enough, I did a trade before I did plumbing. I did it. I was a spray painter in a smash repair business.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, so I did that for maybe did the trade for 4 years, and wasn't for me, and just by opportunity, a buddy was, or an older buddy ran a plumbing company, and he asked me if I wanted a job, and I was just doing a bit of labouring and turned into an apprenticeship, and then 4 years later I was a tradie, and
sweet.
Yeah.
So you tried it out. So what then brought you up to Wollongong, which is maybe 2 hours north?
Yeah, so I left. I was living in Ulladulla, and just wanted a taste of something different. I loved growing up there, but it was time to spread my wings. I moved to Sydney just for a brief stint, 4 years maybe, off and on, with a bit of travel in between, and from there I was actually, funnily enough, I was working as a plumber, and I was doing a lot of work down in the Wollongong area, and I used to drive down. I was a slave and I was doing Saturday work, and I used to drive down Bulli Pass quite a bit, and if you're driving down there on sunrise, you're just like, this place is magic. So, from there, I was like, this is sort of where I want to be. And for me, it's the best of both worlds. You've got that chilled, vibe that I grew up with in down South Coast. And then there's enough going on. You sort of, there's, the local areas, there's bars, pubs, all that stuff. So it's got,
So you liked how it had a little bit of a buzz as well? Yeah,
totally. Yeah, I'd got used to having all that stuff around, and this is home for me now.
Yeah, same. How have you noticed the change in the place since you've moved here?
Yeah, super positive. When I moved here, there wasn't much happening in the way of nightlife besides some dodgy nightclubs, and which are a heap of fun, and I spent plenty of time there. But as you get older, you sort of got to, venture out of those shady venues and to try and be more a bit classier. And the local bar scene, and and then just heaps of stuff like cafes and restaurants. There's heaps going on. Fair bit of high rise now, and it's sort of turned into a little city, but it's still got its natural grimy Wollongong charm.
It does have a bit of a grimy charm, especially when there's a southerly and it's blowing coal dust all over everything.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which, as toxic as it is, I've grown to love it,
Exactly, man, yeah.
I don't know about you, I look at the steelwork sometimes with good feelings. It looks like this industrial wasteland, but I look at it with fondness.
Yeah, same here, man. You can see it from where you ride up on across to Mount Kembla from Mount Kira. You got a clear view of just the steelworks with the heart of the ocean and everything in the background. I don't know. It's just like sort of feels like home, and yeah,
it's funny. And I think too, like geographically, I can't like because the mountains are right there. Like it really can only grow to a certain extent.
That's it. Yeah.
You know, like it can't really expand too much outwards. It can only sort of go up or down the coast.
Yeah, right. That's right.
What do you think?
Yeah, totally. And I just love, that's probably what drew me here is just like mountains into the sea. Like, few places in the world I've been, maybe like top of Spain, there was some places like that, which I, just fell in love with. And then, this is sort of does the same thing. It's, pretty special, eh?
Have you travelled much in your life?
Yeah, I did. Like I haven't probably done half enough travel, but I've sort of did the Euros thing and a bit of Asia, Bali, obviously. Yep. And but there's NZ, but there's still heaps I'd like to do. But it's probably as much travel as I'd like to do in Oz as I would overseas. You get to that point in your life where you're like, I haven't really seen much of Australia.
Same, dude.
Yeah.
Australia's epic.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I'd love to do a roadie around Tassie and, check that out. And
is that motivated by mountain bike riding?
Yep, correct.
Is that how all your holidays are now?
For sure, yeah.
How does the missus feel about that?
She's pretty chill. Like, we just... And most places are pretty nice anyway, so, yeah, she just accepts that. And a lot of my trips are just solo or with a buddy anyway and just smash it out. But, we plan to maybe... do a bit together and head around Tassie at some stage. Yeah.
I guess it's the same, like, if you're a surfer and you have, like, you want to go to these beautiful tropical locations, and so if your non-surfing partner comes along, it's like the worst-case scenario, you're in a beautiful tropical area.
Yeah, totally. And I don't know, for me, it's balance. It gives me a bit of balance as well. Like in
what way?
I don't know. I've just got heaps of energy, so... if I'm not doing something good, I'll be doing something bad. So if I'm not riding, like I'm probably going to have just like a bender of a holiday.
I was going to say, like, what's bad for you? Just drinking too much.
Drinking too much, and when things aren't in moderation. So, but that's the best thing about.
You can't moderate.
Oh, I struggle. Yeah.
You like having a good time?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
I know, same.
Yeah.
It's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing. You just got to keep it in check.
Yeah. And you've got, like, so much, like, you got, like, a lot of responsibility. I've got other friends that are business people, and they've sort of said to me that when you have your own business or businesses, in your case, like, it's 24/7. Is that right? Like, you're living and breathing it?
Yeah, definitely.
But my question to you is, like, how do you manage that in terms of stress management?
Yeah, like I'm getting better as I get older. Like most things you do. Like,
is that because you're more successful now? You don't have to worry as much?
I guess that's part of it, but probably the most part is just like figuring yourself out and figuring what makes you stressed and what doesn't make you stressed. And for me, I've learned like the big one is like, if you got a problem, if you just dwell on it and just think of the problem and not the solution, it's just like you just create this big problem in your head. And and then communication and all that all sort of ties into that first thing. And and you just try and the other one is not to sweat the small things. Like if it's something that's not going to, if it's just a momentary issue and it's not going to be an issue in a few weeks, like it's forgotten about, like, why dwell on it? Yeah.
That's so rad you said that, man.
It's all good in theory, but there's still things that, like, the smallest thing could set me off. But, I try and work at it. I think you do that when you get older. You just,
Would you say you're more conscious of it now?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Just trying to be better and trying to be a better boss and a better business person. It's just a work in progress.
Every day, one day at a time?
Exactly, man. Yeah, I don't look too far ahead.
Do you?
No.
See, like, man, people like you bum me out because, like, I can tell you do that. Whereas I'll be honest with me, I'm like, stress. I think about the future a lot, and I'm actually missing out on the present moment. And I'm not enjoying what I'm actually doing because I'm already thinking about the next thing.
Oh, I still do plenty of that, but I know what you mean. Yeah, I think it's I just guess, I don't really, I'm not that guy who does as a 5 or not even a 2-year business plan, really.
Really?
No, I just sort of think 12 months ahead, and you just sort of
that was one of my questions. I was like, what's next? Like, are you going to do you have bigger plans for the business, or are you just going to stay?
Yeah, like, interestingly enough, I've got this business, which I may have told you previously, but I've got the Quay Supply and Quay Canteen on the market. It's just that time where I've just got too much going on, and this was the original project, and like it's a saleable business, so the idea is just to lighten the load and then put more into the bike stuff, which is obviously Local Cycle Co. and Huck the World, and really push those two. And
actually build bikes?
No building of bikes, no.
Okay, leave that to like the pros. That's
it. Yeah, there's way too much involved in mountain bikes to start building them. I mean,
can you brand bikes though?
You could. There's just so much research and development. They're just like there's so much to them. Like that would be the dream, and especially now there's some huge bike shortage. So if you could build bikes, wow, you'd be doing pretty well for yourself. But I'll leave that to the pros.
They're so tech, eh?
Yeah, there's heaps involved in it, yeah.
Yeah, like, I guess it's kind of like surfboards times 1,000 in terms of how technical they are.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's so many moving parts and componentry, and everything's evolving, like, so quickly. It's pretty, it's pretty interesting sort of thing.
Yeah, like, and do these companies just spend years in research and development?
Years and years, yeah. It's nuts.
To get to where they're at.
Yeah, and to build, it's basically like building a rally car.
Yeah, oh, right.
On two wheels, it's got to be up for it. Like, just, the stuff that we throw at these bikes and they just, eat it up. It's pretty mental, eh?
What are most of the frames made from? Like, what's the general component of them?
Either aluminium or carbon.
Or carbon, yeah.
Yeah, so carbon's sort of the latest and greatest thing. It's just heaps lighter, and all my bikes are carbon, and that works for me, but there's a lot of OG brands that just do alloy still. That's just like that's what they swear by. But yeah,
and then like sort of like protect the frame through good suspension. Is that how it all works?
That's it. Yeah. So the suspension's there to take the hits for you and make it a bit more of an enjoyable ride. And for sure too, it would take a little bit of the stress out of the carbon. But the way they build the frames is just mental that, they can build them so strong and, just hold up.
So refined, man. It's so rad. It's like a full-on craft in itself, eh?
It is, yeah. You can get pretty deep in it, and it's, yeah.
I didn't know you had the place on the market. Is it... And I just want to talk about the space you're in. So you're in a building that was... I actually remember before you were in here, it was almost like a derelict building.
Yeah, fully. Yeah. It's definitely come to life. Yeah.
So did you just see beyond that and go, okay, we can work with this?
Yeah, totally. A few reasons. Like I like the idea of it just being a bit different and not part of the mall or in the shopping centre sort of vibe. And then the other one was just cheap rent. I was like, it's a good spot to get a foot in the door. And now, for me, it's just been perfect. I wouldn't want to move the business anywhere else. It's just got its own little thing going on. It's pretty relaxed, and and it's home.
It is home. It feels feels really homely, eh?
It does, yeah. Even 10 years on, and just been for 10 years I've been coming in here to work, and I still enjoy coming in. So it's
But it just feels like it's maybe time to close that chapter and move on.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. You just get to that point where it sort of all becomes a bit of juggling, where you're trying to do too much, and to move forward with the other projects, I just need to pull back on this, and that's just
Is it scary? Are you scared?
A little bit, yeah. Actually, yeah. Like I think, when I had the idea of selling up and moving on, and it was sort of that thing where it was excitement, and then you get to that next point where it's a bit of nerves and like going, okay, like I've got to make everything work and be, self-sufficient with all those other things, and that's a bit scary.
This is like this is the life of an entrepreneur, like someone that is brave enough to try stuff, right?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, like I think just like self-belief and like, you know, I wouldn't say I'm an overconfident guy probably, but I think just believing in what you do, and if you believe it's going to happen, it happens. Like,
yeah, dude.
Sort of, yeah.
Such a good message, man. Because like I always think, because I'm a teacher, I'm always thinking in terms of like messages I'd like to get to young people, you know, and that's why I really like speaking to people like you who have branched out and had an idea and believed in it and then turned it into something. And I want young people to know that, like they don't have to work for somebody else. They can create their own thing. And I think you're just such a good example of it, you know.
Yeah, no, that's totally true. Like, I think it's the crazy thing, like when the way I break it down is like when you leave school, you know, I left school when I was 16, finished year 10, high school certificate, done that, and I'm out. And at that point, I was interested in cars, so I became a spray painter. And at that age, you don't know what you want to do. No chance. Like, you know, I get that some people leave school and start a trade and they're still doing that and they're loving it. That's sweet. That works for them. But for most part, people will bounce through a whole bunch of different career paths to find what they love. And, you know, when I speak to Grommies, I'm like, what are you know, and I feel like that's another thing. I'm probably putting pressure on them right there going, what are you doing when you finish school? And they're like, I don't know, like, how are you supposed to know at that age? And, you know, so it's that thing of, I say to Groms, like, don't overthink it. Like, you probably start doing a career. I mean, you might go to uni or do something, but that's doesn't have to be the rest of your life. Like, you can sort of do what you want, and you can, you know, I feel like it's that thing where you get to like later in your 20s. Well, that's how it worked for me, and I sort of fell into my path, and yeah, that's sort of how it happens, I reckon.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I wish someone said to me when I was like 15 or 16, like, you know, you don't have to work for someone else. Like, but I also believe that you do have to try a bunch of shit to work out what you like and what you don't like. It's all part of the journey. Like, you can't just sit there idle and go, I'm going to make something. It's just going to happen. But, you know, you just got to experiment. Like, you try, like for you try to be a spray painter, didn't really love it, but just did it. You know, try to be a plumber. And mind you, side note, if you've ever had a major water leak in your house, plumbers become like gods. Hey, you worship the ground they walk on, like, save me.
Yep, and become expensive.
Oh, they're expensive, but it's like you don't even care how much you have to pay them because just make the water go away.
Exactly, man. Yeah, and just to touch on what you just said as well, like those trades I did were like gave me so much life experience, and it's all part of like
work ethic.
Yeah, definitely work ethic, and even just like you know, some business knowledge and that sort of thing, and even, you know, doing a fit out for a shop. Like I was reasonably handy, or reasonably good with my hands, so I was able to carry out a lot of the fit out with, you know, skills I'd learnt through my trade. So it's all things that you use in life. So it's
right,
yeah.
Cool. So you save some money there
For sure, yeah, big time.
Yes, brother, yes. Man, I'm sort of standing in your store right now, surrounded by all these cool clothes, and you sort of get like, I feel like a kid in a candy store. My question to you is, like, aside from your labels, like, what are you looking for when you do pick a brand to sell? Like, what are you actually looking for?
Yeah, there's a few things. Like, one of the big ones is, you know, it's not popularity. Like, what's popular, but sort of maybe as well what's new and coming through, and, you know, maybe try and, like, I think in this sort of industry, if you're on the pulse and getting that next best brand before the major stores get it, and you sort of introduce it, that's sort of pretty cool. And always as well, a brand with a bit of substance is pretty cool. Like, you know, some of the brands we sell, you know, there's some of them, or a few are independently owned, and that's nice just to know that money's going back into that pocket for someone who's put it all on the line.
Yes.
And that's pretty much how you'd pick it out, I reckon.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, you're going back to what you said about something like, you know, picking a brand before it pops off. Like, I mean, how do you do that? Like, that's a skill in itself.
Yeah, I guess you get...
Are you looking at fashion, other fashion labels? What are you doing? Scouring the internet? Celebrities? I don't know. Like,
yeah, I probably back in the day I was sort of, really getting deep in it and, seeing what's next. Like, for example, the New Zealand market, you'd say what's coming through from New Zealand, and like maybe that'll be something new for Australia, so we'll try and do that first before everyone gets onto it.
Yeah.
So I guess that sort of thing, and yeah, the heaps of Instagram trawling and that sort of thing. But yeah, nowadays it's just sort of like we've got our brand mix, and I'll rarely bring on a new brand just because it's just don't have the space, and you just sort of, it just works as it is now.
It just works. Yeah, it's so cool. I know for me, like, it's always been just heavily influenced by like my favourite skateboarders, and then sometimes surfers, not so much, but it's always been like, I'm always looking at pro skaters to see what they're like, not just how they're skating, but what they're wearing.
Oh, dude, I think skate is so far on, like, ahead of everything. They're on the poles.
You really think so?
Yeah, totally. Like, I feel like a lot of trends come through, and it comes through the skate industry. Like the big one, like the cropped like workwear trousers. Like, skaters have been wearing that for years, and then it makes its way through all the other scenes. And and even for me, like, the Huck the World project is, I follow the Passport brand, and I'm not a skater. I suck at skating. I've had a bit of fun with it over the years, but yeah, I get a lot of inspiration from what they do,
right,
and just their story, and the big one is it's a brand with substance, and like they're just skaters, and they've just made this thing. Yeah,
like they're not coming from like a multinational corporation. They were just dudes with an idea, and then just made it happen, right?
Yeah, dudes with an idea, and dudes that are clever with branding and style, and they just
I kind of feel like they've almost created their own genre.
Fully, yeah, I totally agree. They just made this thing, and it's worn by everyone. Like, I guess it's in a fair few of the big stores now. Which
is it?
Yeah, so they're just, it's sort of for everyone, I guess.
Yeah, they've fully gone global, and they've just done a collab. What I found really interesting, they just did a shoe collab with Nike.
Yeah, I saw that too.
Nike.
That's wild, That's big time, yeah.
And I'm just kind of, but for some reason, if anyone else did it, I'd think it was like a sellout. But when they do it, I'm like, yeah, like, that's cool. I don't know why.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah, I think it's rad.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned Passport. I love that brand as well. But I am curious about, like, like you were saying about skaters and fashion. I still can't put my finger on why I look to them and why they seem to influence fashion so much.
Yeah, I guess they're just steezy and just steezy. Yeah, mostly just, you just see them, and skaters are just skaters. They just cruise around, and
I wonder if it's because skaters are in the streets. It's like, I don't know, because they're in urban environments, and most people are really living in urban environments, and maybe that just resonates with people. I don't know.
Yeah, I reckon that's pretty much it, yeah.
Because I know surf fashion went pretty mainstream, but the reality is, like, I mean, I don't know what percentage of the population actually lives near the beach in the world. Like, not many people do.
Yeah, you're right there. Like, surf fashion's worldwide. You'd go to they have surf shops in country towns, like, hundreds of k's from the ocean. So it is an odd one.
It is an odd one, yeah. Listen, man, I can't believe that rain, dude, but it hasn't really affected the audio too much. I've recorded in wet season Bali and dealt with probably much worse. But listen, I ask all guests to come to the podcast with like a cause they want to support or advocate for. So what do you got for us, Muzzy?
Yeah, so...
He's getting his phone out. It's always a good sign. He's had to think about it.
Yeah, fully. So obviously with all the floods and everything going on in Australia, the guys up at in the northern rivers sort of area have been smashed with the floods, and so it only makes sense to sort of send something their way. So the charity is Give It. So Give It, they're all about just getting the funds and what's needed to the people that need it, and there's no middleman and no holding of money. It's just, they make it happen. So I feel pretty strongly about that. So it'd be rad to do something for them.
Dude, that is rad. That's so good. Thanks, Muzzy, for bringing that one up. It's so timely. And if you scroll down in this episode, you'll find a link to give it, and you can click on that and see how you can, support it or be of help to that cause. It's a great cause, and I guess through the podcast, I'm always looking for ways that I can give people ideas and opportunities to be of service to communities and each other. So thanks, Muzzy, for bringing that one up.
No, my pleasure, yeah.
Yeah, and also you can find this episode on terriblehappytalks.com. You can also find it on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podcast Addict, iHeartRadio, but whatever platform you like to listen on. It always helps if you leave a review, or I don't know, share it somewhere. It's up to you. But either way, I'm just glad you're listening. So thank you. And the next thing, Muzzy, is I've got a little present for you.
Oh, sweet. Cheers.
So THT's done a collab with amazing artist Trait. So and all profits from these T-shirts are being donated to flood relief and assistance for people on the north coast of New South Wales. So big shout out to Kane Hospital, the artist known as Trait. We're doing a collab, so we're going to give you a T-shirt as well, Muzzy. So
cheers, bro. No, I appreciate it. Stoked.
And thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for having me.
And I guess the next thing I want to ask you, I want to put it to you, what would you say to 18-year-old Muzzy?
Oh, man. Probably, I don't know, just don't be so uptight. Maybe drink a little less. No, I don't know, man.
You're a big drinker when you were 18?
Played footy and just, you go to the pub and that sort of thing. But, yeah, I don't know what I'd tell myself. Just probably, I probably had a lot of uncertainties of where I was going in life. So probably just relax and let it all happen. And
Did you get anxiety around that, though, when you were that age?
Yeah, for sure. More so I feel like into my 20s when you start thinking a bit deeper and but at that age you're just living in the moment.
Yeah. So
I reckon definitely there was a lot of anxiety, and I feel like that's a part of life where you're just too concerned and of what could be or what won't be and that sort of thing.
Yeah. But it gets better.
It does, definitely, yeah. As with age, I think it all gets better. You sort of figure yourself out. And
well, I've got an interesting stat for you, because my last guest, he is an advocate for suicide prevention, and we talked a lot about men's mental health statistics and just mental health statistics and epidemiology. And they say that as you get older, depression rates decrease. So as we get older, we actually get happier.
Fully, I totally agree. Yeah, I've definitely had some dark days, especially through my late 20s, and
really,
yeah, fully depressed and not knowing where you're going in life and not feeling like you had a purpose and all that sort of stuff. So just to it's, again, in the last 5 years, you just sort of figure yourself out. It's that sort of thing. Self-medicating, as in I'm down, I need to go for a ride. I need to keeping your head in check.
So you found the things.
Definitely, yeah. You know what works and what your medicine is, and you just got to, keep medicated.
Yeah. But again, alcohol, you've realised in your older age that, because I think a lot of us do self-medicate with alcohol, and it does work to an extent, but in the long term, it's not a good thing.
No good at all, nah. So the things I do now to try and stress relief are definitely less of that sort of thing and more about, activities and stuff that gives you a natural high.
Yeah, I guess too, having a hangover and mountain bike riding would suck, right?
It's the worst. Yeah. You can't pair those two up.
I know. It was for me, one day I was so hungover I could barely stand or even see straight, and local surf break was absolutely pumping. I won't say the name of it, but it's across the road from where we used to live, but down the beach a bit.
Gotcha.
Day of the year. And I couldn't even go out, and the sun was shining, the wind was offshore, surf was in the 4 to 6 foot range, just barreling, and I was just I just can't go out.
No,
I remember going, I'm never gonna let that happen again.
Yeah, good man.
So
stay strong.
Good message, bro. Thanks, man. All right, do you want to end on anything?
No, man. It's been pretty good. Sweet. Yeah, good to chat, man.
It's been really quick. It just flowed, that convo. I loved it.
Yeah, man. We chat pretty regularly in here, so it's just like having another convo, really, with a microphone in my face this time.
Actually, I was going to say to you, because you do this day in, day out, and I see I notice, here's a credit to you, you always give everyone a bit of time. I see that. Does that get exhausting though?
Yeah, like yes and no. Like I love the
You love
social aspect of work, and like believe it or not, like weekends and I'm not very social. As in, I like socialising, but I'm also just a bit of a like hermit. Just cruise at home and maybe go for a ride, but I don't really get out and about much. I guess you do most of that through the day, like all your chatting and social stuff, and then nights are just for chilling. So it's a good balance.
The nights are just for chilling. I'm with you. All right, Mr. Michael Muzzy Graham, everybody.